right now, you have under your bathroom sink a product graveyard. You know, it's where we put all of those half-used creams, gels, and mousses that promise fabulous curls. And they delivered? Not that. You've probably spent hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. And the question you keep asking, what is wrong with my hair? We are going to figure it out together in this video. Are you ready? Let's do this. Hello, my curlies. Erica, your Curldresser here. What if I told you that the problem isn't your hair? And what if I told you that the product probably isn't the problem either? All it is that it's a scientific mismatch. You're trying to put together a puzzle without ever seeing that picture that's on the box. Let's face it, that's impossible, unless you're Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory. Well, today I am giving you that picture of the puzzle. We are going to be getting into the science of your hair, right down to the follicle. We're going to figure out why what you're doing isn't working. And then you can finally get the results that you've been paying for. So now you have the frustration loop and the great mismatch. Now, the frustrating loop is that you see an ad, a commercial, or a creator, and their curls are perfect. So what do? Well, you buy the product, don't you? You get the product, you use it, and either your hair is starting to feel too dry, or maybe it's flopped completely, or maybe you went poof when you shouldn't, because the product isn't meant for your hair. It was meant for their hair. And then what do you do with the product? You put it in the product graveyard. Maybe you've been told to get products based on your curl pattern. You know the curl pattern from 2A to 4C. It's whether you have waves, curls, or coils. It's like choosing your skincare based on only your eye color. It's a piece of the puzzle, but it ain't the whole picture. And yes, I can hear you now. So Erica, what else do we need to focus on to figure out what products we need? I'm glad you asked. Now, product failure comes down to three other key pieces that need to be together with your curl pattern. And those three other puzzle pieces are porosity, density, and thickness. So what's the secret to figuring this all out? Because standing in the hair care aisle does not help. It starts in your scalp. Okay, if after you watch this video and you go looking under your sink and you find products there that, by all accounts, they should have worked for you, maybe you used not enough, maybe you used too much, maybe your hair was damp instead of wet. What I tell most people, it takes at least 4 to 5 uses of a product to figure it out. And so if you've tried a product multiple ways and it should work, sometimes it's chemical or hormonal. It's rare, but it happens. Okay, now we are going to decode your hair's secret language. The foundation of your hair starts in your scalp. The reason your hair is curly is genetics, pure genetics. I mean, maybe your parents or your grandparents didn't have curls or don't have curls, but it was somewhere someone had them. Now, the shape of that hair follicle is what dictates what the hair is. So if your follicle is round, your hair is going to be straight. If the follicle is oval, you're going to have wavy hair. And if your follicle is flat elliptical, that's when you get those fabulous curls and coils. Now you know that genetics gave you your curls or your waves or your straight hair. While your hair follicle kind of sets the stage, those three other things that I mentioned are supporting actors. The first supporting actor is porosity, and that's your hair's attitude towards water. If you have low porosity, your cuticle is closed really tightly. It's kind of like a raincoat. So the water hits it, beads, and falls right off. Now, because your hair is so moisture resistant, it's the same thing trying to get moisture into low porosity hair. Products can start to sit on top and coat the hair. This is why sometimes people with low porosity actually need to clarify more than people with medium or high porosity. Now, high porosity is like the complete opposite. This is like leaving a window open in a rainstorm. Because our hair absorbs moisture fast, it also loses it just as fast. Part of my hair is high porosity, so it gets wet easily, but then the moisture just disappears and my hair starts to frizz. That's why our hair feels dry and brittle even hours after you load it up with conditioner and leave-in conditioner and creams, blah, 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 blah. Some high porosity hair is genetic, but there's always a but. It also can happen when you're coloring your hair, bleaching your hair, or if you're using hot tools at a really high heat, which, let's face it, I don't recommend that, my girls and guys. Don't do it. Just don't do it. It's not good for curls. Just don't do it. Okay, next we have density. Now, density is how many hairs are in a square inch on a scalp. Let's think of a forest. Low density hair, you can see the floor of the forest very easily. If you have high density, think about the tropical rainforest. You cannot see the forest floor. That's a thick head of hair. I used to have that hair that you couldn't see the scalp through the forest. Now you can. Maturing. It isn't for the faint of heart. Why does it matter how much hair you have on your head? Because it tells you how much product you should be using, something I'm having trouble with. So if you have low density hair, you might use one pump of a cream and get fabulous results. I like that word, don't I? But if you have high density, you are going to need a lot more to get that same coverage and get those same fabulous results. Okay, so now we're moving on to number 3, which is thickness. Thickness or strand width is the diameter of a single hair. And those hairs are either fine, medium, or coarse. So if you have fine hair, think of it like a downy feather. If you use something too heavy, you're weighing down the feather. So then you have coarse hair, which is kind of like a piece of yarn. It's so much thicker, it can handle heavier products and not get weighed down. Now we're going to touch on curl patterns. It's the last piece of the puzzle, but this is where you're going to start to understand what your curls need. If you have fine waves, you're going to want to use lighter products. Now on the other side, you have curls and coils. So curls and coils are normally drier because the cuticle is open more. So we can use things that are a little heavier. Bottom line is that if you're shopping only for your curl pattern and you're not taking porosity, density, and thickness into consideration, you could be using products not meant for your exact curls. A fine, low density, low porosity 3A curl has different needs than, let's say, a coarse, high density, high porosity curl. Let's say you have the same cars, two of them. One runs on diesel, the other runs on high octane gas. So if you put that high octane gas in that diesel car, you're going to seize the engine. But meanwhile, that high octane car is purring like a kitten. Now that we finished all of that scientific-y stuff, we get to play. There are 2 ways to test for porosity. To do either test, you want your hair to be freshly cleaned, no conditioners, no products. You want it naked, totally naked. And the best way to do that is grab the hair out of the drain as soon as you finish shampooing, and you'll have clean hair. The first is the strand test. You take one of the strands, you lay it on a flat surface, and then you mist it with room temperature water. If the water beads up and it just sits there, you have low porosity hair. If your hair soaks it up immediately, you have high porosity hair. And if your hair soaks it up like in a minute or so, You've got medium porosity. That's your middle ground. That's what you're kind of aiming for. So now we come to the float test, and the float test has been controversial for decades. For this test, you take a clear glass of room temperature water, you take one of those clean strands and you drop it in. If your hair stays at the top, you have low porosity because your cuticle is sealed. It's not letting in any of the water. It's a raincoat. If it stays at the top, you have low porosity. If it goes to the middle of the glass, you have medium porosity. And if it sinks like a stone, you have high porosity. Like that open window in a storm. Okay, you ready for the best part? You can have two different porosities on your head. My front pieces and my canopy are very high porosity. That's why you see me use extra product around my frame, because I know how these can frizz. Now we're going to check your density. For the density test, you're going to look at your scalp in the mirror. If you can see your scalp, you have low density. If you have to part your hair to see scalp, you have medium density. If you part your hair and you can't see scalp at all, you have high density. I miss those days. Yeah, stress is not helpful for hair loss or wrinkles, my girls and guys. Too much stress. Now for the thickness test. So you're going to take a piece of hair that has shed itself. Don't pluck anything out, especially if you have fine density. You're going to take a piece of hair, you're going to roll it in between your fingers. Can you feel it? If you can't, you have fine thickness. If you sort of feel it, but you're not sure, but yeah, you feel something, then your strands are medium. If it feels like a piece of thread or bigger, you have coarse strands, and man, are you lucky. Okay, so now you know about all the puzzle pieces, but how do you choose the right products for your curls? For low porosity hair, your enemy is buildup. It's kind of hard to get moisture into your hair. You want to use lighter products, things that aren't too heavy, like you don't want to use creams or butters on your hair. Think about light oils like argan, jojoba, grapeseed, or almond oil. Those are all light, and those will help to penetrate underneath that tight cuticle. You also want to limit your proteins. Proteins fill in gaps, and you don't have any. So use proteins very sparingly, my low porosity curlies. Now, if you have high porosity hair, well, your hair is like a leaky bucket. So your goal is to fill it with moisture and then seal that sucker closed. Now, if you have that high porosity hair, a lot of times people will use the lock method, which is applying your products liquid oil cream, or the LCO method, and that's layering it liquid cream oil. You have to figure out what works best for your curls. And again, once you figure it out, it could change at any moment. Now, protein is good for our hair. I mean, just don't overdo it, because if you overdo the protein, then your hair gets dry and brittle. You'll know if you use too much protein. But protein is good to help, like I said, rebuild that cuticle. If you have fine, low density hair, your mantra should be lightweight. You're going to want to use mousses and foams and lightweight gels. You're also going to want to avoid heavy products like the plague. As with most products, you want to apply the majority from the mid-lengths to the ends. And if you have fine hair and you're using a heavier product, keep it away from the scalp. But if you are using volumizing products, you don't have to keep it away from the scalp. You kind of want it near, so it helps to thicken and give you volume. And now we move on to the coarse, high-density hair. And like I used to have, it's like a workhorse. You could do anything to it. Your curls can take any heavy butter, cream, or oil that you throw at it. And you're fine. You're good to go. I miss those days. Maturity. You know what I want to say to maturity? You are also going to need to use more product because your hair is thicker. So make sure that when you are using these new products, that you play with the amounts, play, cocktail, whatever you have to do. Okay, so now you have all this information and you have nailed it. You have the right setup, you have the right products, and then boom, it all changes. The fact that your hair changed is not a myth, it's all biological. Hormonal shifts are huge. Between puberty, pregnancies, perimenopause, postmenopause, they can alter the follicle so that if you have curly hair, you might go straight, or if you have straight hair, you might go curly. I mean, it's crazy. Don't you love our bodies? Surprise! So yeah, you welcome menopause and then your hair changes on you. Maturity. If you use bleach, color, or high heat, you're going to damage that cuticle. And then your raincoat is going to turn into a leaky bucket. And then you are going to need more moisture and protein. Isn't it fun? So yeah, you have to be a scientist for your own hair. It's a struggle. The struggle is real. The bottom line is that your routine can't be set in stone forever. So if your products stop working, that's a sign that your hair has changed and you need to reevaluate your strands. All right, my curlies. If this video connected any dots for you, I hope you'll subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon so that you get notified every time a new video posts, and that you please like the video, hit that thumbs up. It's important for YouTube to see a lot of likes on videos and comments. I want to know what your biggest challenge has been with your curly hair. So go down to the comments and tell me what your biggest challenge has been with your curls. Hopefully this video helped to solve that problem. The key to fabulous curls isn't just one product. It's understanding your unique fabric of your hair. I think it was Sebastian many decades ago that started to use the analogy of fabric when it came to hair. So it is time to stop blaming your hair and hopping from product to product, because that doesn't work. Now you've gone through the entire Curldresser class. So now you won't be confused about your porosity, density, or thickness, or your curl pattern. And you can use it all together to find the perfect products. And let's face it, there are so many specific curl companies that have an entire array of products, whether it's needing protein, whether it's needing moisture, whether it's needing definition or frizz control. They are out there and they work, as long as you're using the right product for your hair type. So now your hair will work with you instead of against you. We know our hair best as long as we're paying attention and we have the tools to figure it out. Until my next video, cheers and ciao for now. Oh, where was I? Okay. I think I got my rhythm. Rhythm in me. Of all the crap. Sorry, YouTube. Do we do one more? Of course you do one more because you're all right, you know you're going to do one more because you're just an idiot. All right, that's what. That's it. That's it. Hi. That's it. Ah! He's crazy. Crazy. Oh, hello. Pigget. A big pigget and a little pigget. Look, the product. So your hair absorbs me. So your hair, bottom line,